Yeah, Gnosticism, it puts a bad taste in my mouth. And let me explain. I'm not saying that Gnosticism doesn't hold a lot of truths to it. I'm not saying that Gnosticism doesn't bring a lot of understanding to the Gospels. I'm not saying that the Gnosticism isn't interesting. A lot of Gnostic teachings are very mystical, very interesting. It brings a lot of more perspective to what we just know with the synoptic Gospels and stuff like that. But Christianity can only go so far with the teachings of Christ, and Gnosticism kind of fills in a lot of those spaces when Jesus speaks of the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven. The reason why I say it gets a bad taste in my mouth nowadays is because I cannot stand when you have people who are ignorant or people who do not understand Gnosticism or who do not understand the teachings of Gnosticism. People who haven't really done the internal work, people who never done the shadow work, people who never dealt with their trauma, people who are not looking to change their own circumstances in life, people who are nihilist. I could go on. These type of people will adhere to what is necessarily like the awakening and enlightenment and the woke movement or being conscious. And they'll have the little incense and they'll have their crystals and they have a certain look to them. In some cases, right? Not all the time, but sometimes. And they'll have this little look to them. And their narrative is like, this earth is a prison. And they always talk about the system and the man and the government and these people and that people trying to suppress us and oppress us, and the elites and our master and the people who oppress us and all these different things. And it puts you in this cycle, in this loop of being to your own demise. It puts you in a state of self-sabotage. And so you enter into this continuous cycle and you don't even understand you're playing the Demiurge in your own life. Uh-oh. We didn't get there, did we? You never could fathom that you was the Demiurge in your life. That the Archons that play these different type of positions in your life is allowing you to continue to play in this cycle of abuse, depression, anxiety, fear. See, you took Gnosticism from an external standpoint. You think everything around you is the Demiurge and the Archons and the illusion and the Maya. And to some extent, yes. But you also have to understand your spiritual principles, that everything that is outside is also a reflection of what's within. The only world that you can fathom, the only world that you can understand is the world that you have been taught to visualize from here. You do not see the world through anybody else's eyes other than yours. And the way that you visualize the world that you live in, the way that you see the world and interpret the world is how you go about in the world. So if you think somebody is out to get you, how are you going to coordinate your life? If you think everything can be handed to you and you have every opportunity there is possible for you to get to where you want to go, that is how you're going to coordinate your life. You have to really sit down and really ask yourself, what do you focus more on in life? Do you focus more on your success in life, or do you focus more on your anxiety and the what ifs and what if I can't do this and what if I can't do that? When you study Gnosticism, at least from how I've interpreted, Gnosticism is not teaching you about fearing somebody in the sky. And literally, I hear people who mix in their spiritual beliefs into Gnosticism, and they have like this hybrid mixture of belief with Gnosticism, and they're like, oh, we live in a prison and heaven or earth is hell, and we live in this illusion and we're trapped in this body. It is sick. It's sick. It's a disrespect to yourself. My bad, I got a call. I had to let them know I'm doing a video. But it's a disrespect to yourself. It's a disrespect to Mother Earth. It's a disrespect to Mother Nature. It's a disrespect to who you are individually, to the people that gave birth to you into this world. Because the purpose for you in this world is for you to transform, to illuminate, and connect with everybody else who are also reflections of the divine consciousness or the divine spark. The divine spark within you is just a reflection of the divine infinite intelligence that animates everything around you. The God that you've been taught to worship, Yahweh, the Demiurge, he's not even a God. He's a fragment of a God. You know, he's not even truly divine. He has deluded himself. When you study the mythology, when you study the Hebrew myths and the stories, and then when you study Gnosticism, you understand that you're dealing with a different type of entity. We're dealing with an entity that couldn't even out-wrestle Jacob. You know, we're like, we're dealing with an entity that doesn't match up to true divinity. And that is why he is so envious of mankind, because mankind has the divine spark. Mankind has something that he will never have, and that is true wholeness. And I don't have the time to really break down and go into the basis of Gnostic teachings and Jesus not being the son of Yahweh, because Jesus isn't the son of Yahweh. The Jews can tell you that. But that's Gnosticism. I don't even talk about it because, like, people don't understand it. People look at the surface level, and not even really the surface level of Gnosticism, because I don't understand how you can read into Gnosticism and then interpret the world as an illusion, or rather, the world is an illusion. We'll get to that in a second. How you can interpret the world as a prison, or you can interpret your life as hell, and your body, you're trapped in this body, and you're trying to leave this body. That's not the purpose of Gnosticism. There were many cults within Gnosticism that believed that. I'm not saying that there weren't people who grabbed a hold to different conceptions of this, and if you study the format of Gnosticism, you'll get into all those different denominations. But the world is an illusion, because the world is projected in a certain way for you to see the world in a certain way. The world is an illusion because the media of this world, the programming, the television, the networks out here are all animating a certain depiction of life itself. And it's only going to be true and realistic to those who adhere and contribute their life to it. That might go over some people's heads, but the truth is the truth. You have to understand and realize that you have to control your own life first before you even deal with what's going on outside of yours. Please understand that the life that you are living right now, the life you are day by day, you're living a life to where you have to control how you see yourself. If you are always going to live your life according to what somebody else says about you, you are living according to an Archon. You are letting your life be controlled by Archons. You are letting your life be controlled by the Demiurge. The Demiurge is your ego. You always hear in the Bible where God says, I am God and there are no other gods before me. I am a jealous God. Have no other gods before me. That's the ego. God doesn't want to connect with anybody. This person thinks of himself so high and mighty. He doesn't even have a wife to be seated next to him. He used to have a divine council, and then as you start to go further on into the Bible, and especially when you get to the Babylonian era with the Israelites, it started to become a little more monotheistic. And so with the Demiurge, he has his minions, he has his archangels, and all these different manners. And there's different ways to interpret this, but I'm just dealing with the Gnostic perspective, right? When you're dealing with Yahweh, when you're dealing with the Demiurge and the Archons are your self-limiting beliefs. The Archons are the entities that you put out into the world every time that you give power to your fear, every time that you give power to your self-doubt, your anxiety, all the things that you overthink, all the things that you keep holding back on doing. You keep feeding those things in the world. You keep feeding those Archons in the world, and so you keep going into this repetitive cycle of disappointment, this repetitive cycle of discouragement, this repetitive cycle of not being good enough, or feeling like you're not good enough. That's the quote unquote reincarnating cycle. That's the cycle that keeps repeating after its own, and you keep losing a sense of yourself. You keep getting off course. The lenses are not focusing on who you truly are. You keep trying to find the light, and you are the light. You just haven't acknowledged it. The moment that you realize who you are, you will start to walk accordingly. But because you have identified yourself with the false identity that they have given you, you are living according to how they want you to live. You're living as a good soldier. You are compromising your dreams. You are compromising your opportunities. You are letting life pass you by. You're letting time pass by because you can't acknowledge who you are. And so whenever you hear people try to live their life according to Gnosticism, please grab a hold to that conception. Please understand this is not about the earth being a prison. The earth is a beautiful sanctuary. It's a beautiful organism. Please understand that. The earth is not a prison. Your body is definitely not a prison. It's a beautiful sanctuary. It's a beautiful temple, and you should take care of it. Please understand that. The body is the temple of God, and divine intelligence, infinite intelligence, does not dwell within houses or temples made by the hands of man. You gotta really, don't just say it, don't just believe it. You have to literally be that. You have to internalize that. Like you just ate it. You feel me? You gotta internalize that belief. You gotta internalize that saying, because anybody could say, oh, I'm God. Anybody could say that. It's not enough for you to just say it. You have to internalize it. You have to deal with your internal worth, your self-worth. You have to deal with all of that. Really sit down with yourself and analyze who you see yourself as. Sit down with yourself. Write it down. Write it out. How do I visualize myself? How do I see myself? And does my identity or false identity, is it moving me further, or is it holding me back? The things that I am identifying with in my life, is it holding me back, or is it moving me forward? And if the things that you are identifying with is holding you back, you got to let go of some self-beliefs. Because maybe some of your self-beliefs are self-limiting. And a lot of people have limited beliefs. And that's why a lot of people are just content in the life that they are living today. That's why they continue to believe that the earth is a prison. Because they have made their life to be a prison. That's why they continue to live life in hell. Because they believe that their life is a hell. I don't know how in the world you could, as a human being, value yourself and say that you love yourself, and then say, we're living in hell. We're living in hell. We're living in hell. How in the world could you love yourself and say that about your life? You just confirmed your own detriment without even realizing it. You want to talk about not speaking bad things over your life? You just did. You just did. That's why Gnosticism gets a very bad taste in my mouth. I understand the principles of Gnosticism. I understand the stories. I understand the teachings. But the reason why I don't really speak about it, and the reason why I'm not very outspoken about it, is because a lot of people don't understand it. And of course, that's probably why I'm making this video, so that more people can actually understand the true meaning of Gnosticism. But anytime that I really talk about this, I get a whole load of DMs talking about you don't really looking into it like you're supposed to. You do. Well, Bobby Hemmett said, I'm not Bobby Hemmett. I'm not Bobby Hemmett. I appreciate the teachings of Bobby Hemmett. Don't get it wrong. I appreciate who Bobby Hemmett was for the conscious and the occult community. But I'm not Bobby Hemmett. I have my own belief system. I have done my own research. I have done my own internal work. I know Bobby Hemmett have said that this world is a prison and an illusion, that we have to try and get the fuck up out of here. But that's not my purpose. How am I so focused on trying to get up out of here, and I don't even know my purpose? You know how many people who are around my age don't know their purpose? I'm 26 years old. There are people who are 26, 28, 30, 32, still don't know their purpose in the world, but you so focused on leaving this world, you're gonna come right the fuck back. And I don't necessarily believe in reincarnating, but you're gonna look back over your life, and they always talk about you're gonna look back at your life and see everything, and then you're gonna look at what you could have did, and then you're like, dang, I gotta go back. I really think that might be a thing. If you don't accomplish the things that you're supposed to accomplish in life in itself, you're gonna want to come back because you're like, dang, it's that easy. I'm gonna risk it again. That's the video for today. That's all I gotta say concerning that matters. I hope this can reach out to some people when it comes to Gnosticism. All respects to Bobby Hemmett and his teachings. I have no disrespect, Brother Panic and Bobby Hemmett and all the other people who have came before me concerning Gnosticism. And if they said anything about the world being an illusion and your body being a prison, I don't believe that. That's not my belief system. That's not what I believe. I believe that your body is a holy sanctuary, a holy temple, and your body, you are a spirit. You are divine intelligence, infinite spirit. You are one with God, but even more so, you are God. You are divine intelligence playing as a human. And so you are supposed to take care of your body in the same reference of taking care of the earth and the people such as us who have come from the earth. But you want to continue believing that earth is a prison and all these different things, do so. That's not me. And it will continue to not be me. Share this with some people. Let me know how you feel about this in the comments below. Share, comment, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the comments.